Let's start with the topic animal tissue of class 9 biology. In class 9 biology, the first topic that we had that was covered was plant tissue. After plant tissue, the next topic is animal tissue. And by now we all are familiar that the cells unite to form the tissue, and the tissue then can be of different types in animals: epithelium tissue, connective tissue, muscle or muscular tissue, and nervous tissue. These are all different types of tissues that we are going to study in this topic, and these tissues will then combine to form the organs and then the organ systems. So let's now begin with the epithelial tissue. These are the pictures of all four types of the tissues. We will come to know the difference between them once we learn the chapter. The first tissue that we take up is the epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue is a tissue which is for packaging or covering the body. It helps in the protection of the body. The epithelial tissue is present outside your body in the form of skin, inside your body in the form of some layers which are protecting the organs and the organ systems. So the protective covering in any of the organs or organ systems is because of the epithelial tissue. The next function for the epithelial tissue is that it acts as a barrier. Barrier means it is not letting the organs and organ systems to get into one another. We all know we have so many organs and organ systems in our body, and all of them are put together at a place. So they are all demarcated, or you can say separated from one another by the barrier which is being formed by the epithelial tissue. Next function is that it helps in, because of its permeable nature, it helps in the absorption of water and nutrients. If I give you example of your digestive system, the inner lining right from your mouth till the anus, the tube-like structure which is present, that is alimentary canal, is having an inner lining of epithelial tissue, and that helps in absorption at the places where it is done. Like in small intestine, the absorption of the nutrients takes place. In large intestine, absorption of water takes place. So it is because of the epithelial tissue which is present inside the organs or organ systems. Because of the permeable nature of this tissue, this permeability allows the exchange of material. Like in circulatory system, you will see that the epithelial tissue lining inside is allowing the oxygen and carbon dioxide to move from one place to another, lungs to blood and blood to lungs back. At other place, like when it is in blood, from blood to the organs and from organs to blood back. The next function that we have discussed in the class today is the epithelial tissue also helps in the secretion of variety of substances. It helps in the secretion of sweat because of the sweat gland. It helps in the secretion of saliva because of the salivary gland, and enzymes in the glands. Okay, so the secretion is also because of the epithelial tissue. Where are these epithelial tissues found in our body? By now you know where are these tissues found. They are found in the lining of the blood vessels. They are found in the lining of your mouth. They are found in the kidney tubules, in your skin, in your digestive tract, in the lungs, alveoli, etc. Now, how can we classify different types of epithelial tissues? We can classify them on the basis of their look and on the basis of how many layers are present. You have to keep these 2 points in your mind, which will enable you to remember all different names that are going to now come up for different types of epithelial tissue. So first thing that we will consider is how do they look. So when we talk about the look, they can look like a line, or they can look like cuboidal cells, like you can see cuboidal cell, cube shaped cells, or you can see the shape of a cell like a cylinder. So they can look in these three different ways. One is in the flattening cells that appears to be a line. The second is that the cell is in the shape of cube. And third is that the cell is in the shape of a cylinder. All these cells are one behind the other and forming a tissue. So one thing that we get to know is that this is a single layer that you see, whether it is a line shaped or cube shaped or a cylindrical shaped tissue. One thing is that it is a simple tissue because it is in a single layer. Single layer means the word simple will come. So when it is a line like tissue, then we call it as squamous. Squamous word comes from the Latin word squama, which means scale. So scales that we see in a fish body or a snake body, they appear to be just like a squama, means one after the other with no margin left. Same is the case with the squamous tissue over here. Now why do we call it as simple? Because it's a single layer. So single layer line-like tissue, epithelial tissue, is named as simple squamous. If the cell shape is in cube, then we call that single layered cube shaped tissue as simple cuboidal epithelial tissue. Then next is the cylindrical cell shaped cell, and the name given for the cylindrical is columnar. Columnar. The columnar tissue, columnar is the tissue name given to the tissue which is having cylindrical shaped cells. Why simple? Only one layer of these cells are there, one behind the other, means they are not having more cells above them. There is no more cell above them. There is a single flattened layer. So simple squamous, simple cuboidal, simple columnar. These are the three basic names that you have to remember for the types of or the classification of epithelial tissue. Now the next category, if you remember, I had shown you this table. The way we classify is based on these two characters. How do they look and how many layers are there? Here they look like a line or a cube or a cylinder and there's only one layer. When they have more than one layer, then the word simple is changed from simple to stratified. Stratified word is used for many layers. When there are many layers of the cells, then we call that tissue as stratified. So this is stratified squamous. Why? Because the cell shape is like a line. This is stratified cuboidal epithelial tissue. Why? Because the cell shape is cuboidal and there are layers. You can see two layers of them. So stratified cuboidal tissue. And this is stratified columnar. Why? Because the shape of the cell is cylindrical, and since there are two layers, means the name is no more a simple columnar, it is stratified columnar tissue. I hope everybody is able to understand till this. We will meet in the next class to understand further. Thank you.